everyone, it's me. I'm back with another video. Today I wanted to talk about my Kundalini experience, my Kundalini awakening. I want to preface this by saying I do not do drugs. I do not partake in any psychedelics, whether natural or unnatural. I do not consume psychedelic mushrooms, like none of that stuff. This is my natural experience without manipulating any type of energy in my body intentionally or consuming anything to cause such a reaction. So I actually experienced my Kundalini awakening without even knowing what a Kundalini was. So I was going through a lot of this without even knowing about, Kundalini awakening, the life force, or the coiled one. That's in Sanskrit. Kundalini is in Sanskrit. It means coiled one, which is a life force energy that usually sits at the base of your spine. And then when you're going through an awakening, that energy pretty much unravels and goes all the way up through your spine, it navigates all through your chakras. And it causes serious awakening, healing. You're forced to address a lot of issues that you may have. It is a potent energy. It's nothing to mess around with. I am someone who's always been spiritually gifted. I keep saying that since I was a little girl. So I was never like naturally into like the spiritual community or just like experimenting or exploring with that stuff. So this is just my own, just natural, experience without any type of manipulation. I would say that I think I could have had my Kundalini awaken at an earlier age, because I do recall when I was like 13 or 14 experiencing a lot of energy going up my spine. And I used to feel this liquid always in my head, like just being sprayed or traveling down my head to my neck. And it was so interesting because I always thought, is that like blood in my head? Is there blood in my brain just spraying, or maybe some type of spinal fluid? So I was always confused as to what that was. And it literally just felt like liquid, but not outside of my head. It was like inside of my head, like around my brain. I kept just feeling this liquid traveling down. So I've always had that. And from my understanding, Kundalini causes that to happen. So that was very interesting. But I would have to say during my Saturn return, or right after my Saturn return, is when I began to have that Kundalini awakening, and it was very potent. I knew something was going on with me because every time there was a full moon, I noticed I would feel very uncomfortable with my back. And I would have so much energy traveling up my back that I would keep arching my back. I'll keep getting into the bathtub, and just the water will kind of calm me down. It was the only thing that somewhat relaxed my body. But it's just like I have to be in a body of water. But that energy was so uncomfortable during the full moon. And it wasn't like physical pain. It was just a lot of energy traveling. And then sometimes it'll get stuck in one spot. And then I would just be moving my back, like arching it and trying to find a comfortable position. And I just did not understand it. And on top of that, when that energy was rising, I would be like irritated, angry, or in a lovey-dovey mood, or wanting to cry. So it was a lot of emotions coming up. And then I was also having a lot of visions and stuff like that. I was seeing a lot of my past lives as well. Like a lot of crazy, not crazy, but just kind of sad. Just like some of my past lives, and I would see like the end of life. What was the cause of my end of life in some of those past lives? So I would say that lasted for like a year. And then eventually, there's some stuff I won't share because I feel like it's too sacred and I just don't want to throw it on YouTube. I may share it one day, but some stuff I'm going to leave out. But the most significant thing was a year later, that energy decided to shoot all the way up into my head. But then I felt it around my body. It felt like there was so much energy flowing up into my head. I couldn't stand at all, actually. So I was on my knees. I called off from work for 5 days. I couldn't go to work. And I felt this energy around my body, like something was in my auric field. It was just, but I felt tied to it. I could feel my aura. I could feel like all these strings. Like, how do I explain this? I felt like energetic strings were like shooting out of me as well. But then on top of that, energy's flowing up my spine, shooting out of my head. And I'm literally on all fours, like, oh my God, what's going on? What's going on? And it wasn't painful. It was just a lot of energy, too much energy for my own body, making it difficult for me to stand. And it was so much, it lasted like that for 5 days. So like if I needed to go anywhere, I literally had to crawl. I didn't leave my house. I lost my appetite, so I didn't eat for 5 days. I think I did have like a coconut ice cream. Like I was able to like drink like coconut milk, and I had coconut ice cream. I remember that. But I couldn't eat food. I lost my appetite completely. And I felt like there were ancestors around me, and I won't go into the details regarding that. But what I did find interesting is while I was going through that, I also felt like I was birthing something energetically. So I felt another like body of energy that I created almost. It's so hard to explain this, but it was very interesting. So I couldn't eat. I couldn't walk around. It was too much energy. So imagine doing this for 5 days. I was like, what the heck is going on? And I did reach out to a psychic. I'm usually apprehensive because a lot of psychics do not read my energy at all. They'll tell me stuff and none of it comes to pass. But I found a lady who was telling me, oh, you're having a Kundalini awakening. She explained this to me after the fact, but it was nice to know that I wasn't just going crazy, because I'm just like, dude, I literally can't stand, and I'm having all of this energy just flowing up my body, and I'm feeling it all over my aura. I'm feeling energy shooting out of me. Oh my gosh. And I literally kept going to the bathtub and turning on the water, and I would sit in the bath. So that was the only thing that would make me comfortable. And during that time, I was receiving messages. There was something I was supposed to do, which I did do. And yeah, after that whole shebang, I noticed that I was feeling, on top of that, I'm so sorry. So during all that, with me not being able to stand for 5 days, I'm having contact with some of my ancestors, and I was also getting chills, and I kept feeling like tingling sensations all over my body, like something was pricking my skin, but it was like tingly all over, and I was so cold. I was shivering, and towards the end of it, I couldn't read. Like I would see letters on something, like on a computer screen, but the letters were jumping around. So I couldn't even work when I went back to work because, I was still kind of like working, but I just couldn't read anything because I'm like, I see the letters, but they're jumping everywhere. So I can't even focus. And it was just so much energy. Even when I went back to work, it was just so much energy, and I was shaking. So I was doing a lot of shaking, feeling tingling sensations all over my body, and energy just shooting up my spine, throughout my head. So that's why I get really confused when I see like And this is no disrespect, and I'm not trying to be rude or offensive, but when I see a lot of like the Americans kind of explain like their Kundalini awakening, and then there's someone manipulating the energy, it didn't, like, it was so different from that, because I'm like, after they have that experience, they're able to get up and just walk out and just, live their life. Dude, I felt that energy building up for over a year, and mind you, once the energy fully, all of it kind of like came up, I couldn't stand for 5 days. And then on top of that, it triggers your dark night of the soul. Like, it's just a lot of energy. Like, I would not recommend anyone messing with their Kundalini if it doesn't happen naturally. I wouldn't be doing no Kundalini yoga. I wouldn't do none of that, because it's nothing to joke around with. It can literally cause someone to go into a psychiatric facility or a psych ward, in my opinion. But I did feel like I had a lot of protection around me, which was nice. But after that, it took me a while to get acclimated with that Kundalini energy, because there are times where it's so active and I just didn't know how to like work with that energy, because it made me very uncomfortable. It didn't sit well in my body. It was just so much energy. And then I learned how to work with certain yogas, and eventually learned how to like balance out that energy more. But yeah, and then I kept having that spraying sensation where I feel like a spray, like someone's washing my brain or something. You just hear. Sometimes I'll wake up and I'll see that or hear it, and then in my my third eye, my pineal gland, I will see these bright white lights, like just super bright. It looks like I'm floating in the sky, but it's so bright and so elevated. It's hard for me to even explain it or articulate what I was experiencing at the time. But so sometimes I would see this super bright light, and it just feels like my spirit is just traveling somewhere. So the liquid sensation is pretty cool. It feels really good. It feels like someone's like, imagine like you're getting someone's washing your hair, like you're at a hair salon and they're washing your hair, and you know how good that water feels, and they're scrubbing your head. Imagine that, but imagine that feeling inside your head, like around your brain. I don't know, but it's a great feeling. So outside of that, I haven't had anything. That was like the big awakening for me. And then after that, it was just me trying to work with that energy and trying to balance it out. And it took me a long time to figure it out, because it is very uncomfortable for me if it's not being controlled. And after you have that Kundalini awakening, personally, I feel like that's when I kind of went into my dark night of the soul. But it does force you to deal with a lot of hidden emotions, forces you to deal with a lot of past life trauma. So there's just a lot of healing happening. So yeah, there's certain things I didn't share because I don't want to put everything out there, because some of it was very sacred. It was a very spiritual experience for me. And I feel like I've grown a lot, and I'm still learning, still growing, still learning how to work with that energy, but it's fascinating nonetheless. All right, that is all. I will talk to you all later.